Hey, what's up guys, just Ash here. Do you like my new hair? This is what happens when you have the impulse control of a 4-year-old and own a pair of hair clippers. You end up with half of your head shaved. Anyway, I know I talk a lot about video games and anime on this channel, but I do have other hobbies, I promise. Which is why today I'm going to talk you guys through my top 5 books by British authors that are set mostly in Britain. I tend to prefer British books to American books. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe it's because I've never lived in America, I'm not an American, so I don't really understand some of the cultural references, or I just don't get it. So these are in no particular order, but we'll get the big one out of the way first. It's Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter. I've loved Harry Potter ever since I was a child. I remember being given the first 4 books by my auntie way back before the first film even came out. Like, I had the Harry Potter books read to me as bedtime stories. They are so intrinsically linked with my childhood that I can't not enjoy them. In fact, I love them so much that every couple of years I will go back and reread them and I'll feel the exact same things I felt when I read them for the first time. But now I have a layer of nostalgia over all of that as well, which just makes the experience 10 times more enjoyable. Next up, we have the Alex Rider series by Anthony Horowitz. I remember these being the first young adult fiction books that I ever made the choice to read. They weren't like assigned reading from high school and I wasn't forced to read them. I chose to read them and I truly enjoyed them. I'm pretty certain I got the first 4 books out of a charity shop the same year the Stormbreaker movie came out, and the only reason I bought them was because I had a huge crush on Alex Pettyfer. So I was really hoping for like an Alex Rider film series rather than just one, which is why I ended up buying the books as well, so that I could experience all of this Alex Rider stuff that was going around. I still have a crush on Alex Pettyfer, so that's why this has gone a bit off track. Anyway, I made the choice to buy the books, and I only read the first 4 of them to start with. It actually took me until I was 19 years old and had a 40-minute bus journey twice a day and a library card to finish the series, and I really enjoyed it. I liked the fact that the books had some quite like grown-up themes in them, and it wasn't all aimed at like younger young adults. And I like the fact that it wasn't just aimed at a younger audience, because as Alex Rider grew up, the books grew up as well, and I really appreciated that. The third spot on this list is Charlie Higson's The Enemy series. I actually remember the exact moment I was introduced to this book series. My English teacher, when I was doing GCSE English, basically had a bookshelf where you could borrow the books off them, read them and put them back. And the first 3 books in The Enemy series were on that bookshelf, and one of my friends actually took the first book. He came back pretty much the next day saying it was such a good book, he'd read it all in one night and I should read it. I was a bit of a book snob at the time, so I remember thinking that there was no way this young adult fiction book could possibly be that good. Spoiler alert, it was. So I took the book home, I read it literally all in one night, to the point where I didn't even realise I'd reached the end of the story. I was that engrossed in the book. The level of detail in Charlie Higson's writing and the character growth and development that the characters in the Enemy series go through is some of the best that I have seen. I read a lot. In fact, this is actually the book series that kicked me out of being a book snob. I enjoyed it so much that I ended up reading the other 2 books in the series that were available at the time, and the story and where it was going became a hot topic with me and my friend who'd recommended it to me in the first place, to the point where I actually had doodles of the entire cast of characters in the back of my English book, because I paid attention in high school. Charlie Higson also gets the next spot on my list with his Young Bond series. I actually quite like the James Bond books, and I like a few of the movies as well. My favourite is GoldenEye, but then whose isn't? So of course, when I saw that there was a new Young Bond series, I had to read it. I also really like sci-fi. If you hadn't guessed by the fact that the Alex Rider book series is on this list as well, I devoured this entire series really quickly. I think I read the 5 books that are in it in about 2 weeks. Again, it's because I had a really long bus journey twice a day and I was bored. It had all of my favourite things about the Alex Rider series, but it also had a much deeper level of intrigue and detail that I already knew Charlie Higson's writing would have from reading the Enemy series. And for some reason, that genre of a kid becomes a spy just really appeals to me. In fact, it appeals to me so much that the final spot on this top 5 list also goes to a book series that is about kid spies. It's the CHERUB series by Robert Muchamore. I was actually introduced to this book series by an ex-boyfriend of mine, and I've continued reading them. I actually finished off the whole series quite recently. My favourite one is Class A, which I think is the 2nd or 3rd one, because it handles a very grown-up topic through the eyes of, I think the main character is still 12, And what I really like about the series is that it grows up with the audience and the characters. So you're not just stuck with them being like 12, 13, they do grow up. And again, I really appreciate the fact that the material that is covered in the books grows up with the audience, because I like young adult fiction. I am 22 years old, I am well aware that I am a proper grown-up now, and I should move on and read some proper grown-up books, but I will always choose young adult fiction over a grown-up book. I've read maybe 3 books that wouldn't be classed as young adult fiction that I actually enjoyed, whereas most young adult fiction I enjoy all the time. To the point where I'm probably going to do a young adult fiction based video somewhere along the line. This has gotten really off topic, let's move on. Anyway, that is it for this video. Feel free to recommend me some books in the comments because I love reading new things. Give this video a like if you've enjoyed it. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss any other videos. And as always, pour yourself a nice cup of tea and join me next Friday at 8 for the next video.